So today we're going to look at party system. We're going to explain the concept of party system. We're going to look at the different types of party system. And then we'll look at the merits and demerits of each of these types. Now, let's take a look at Nigeria. How many political parties contested in the last election? I guess, at least I know APC, I know PDP, I know Labour Party. There may be more. So we have at least 3 political parties. So it is not a one-party system. It's not a two-party system. Maybe a multi-party system. So these are the different party systems we are going to look at, right? So a party system may be defined as the conduct of government based on the number of political parties within the system, how the government conducts electoral activities, taking into consideration the number of political parties within that system or allowed by the Constitution. So if you look carefully here, you would see the type. We have 0 party, we have 1 party, we have 2 party, we have multi-party. Now let's pick them up one by one and deal with them accordingly. So a 0 party is where elections are conducted and contested based on personal attributes, capabilities, and programs presented by an individual. So there is no party umbrella. So on the election day, you are voting the person directly. You are not voting, there is no political party. So candidates do not contest election under the banner of a party. There is no party existing. Rather, it is people that you vote for on the day of election. So it's a process where leaders are elected by the people based on their individual merits. I would love this one to happen in Nigeria one of these days. Let me see. So there is no political party. So proper management of time is ensured. It doesn't waste time. Time management is ensured. It kills all sorts of electoral malpractices, and it is very easy to operate. It is not complex. It is very cheap as well. You don't have to go and be printing ballot papers for parties, mobilizing political parties, and the electorates can easily choose their candidate because they are choosing someone they know, either based on track record or whatsoever. So decision making is quick and very easy. Resources are not wasted. It conserves resources. What are the demerits of this system? Election may become rowdy, disorganized. Maybe people can decide to rowdy, disorganized, especially when there are a lot of people coming out as candidates. Or I believe in this kind of system, maybe the Constitution can limit the amount of people that can come out. Now, the absence of political parties manifesto does make the program of candidate not to be definite, right? So you may not be able to hold the person down on something because there is no official manifesto of the party. There is no structure, right? So nothing is defined properly. It is actually based on the individual's whims, right? Now, popular miscreants who can whip up the people can end up becoming political leaders. See the point? Popular people who have gotten their wealth illegally can influence people, buy votes, and win an election. So political parties which can mobilize people and harness their energies for national development are absent. Political parties can unite people across tribes and whatsoever. There are non-existent here. So political education also does not exist because the individuals may decide to buy votes, buy electorates, right? So for me, well, in a way, I don't like it. It may come with challenges, serious challenges, because there is no organized structure. Personally, that's my view. So I wouldn't choose a 0 party. Let's look at 1 party. So one or single party may be defined as one in which only one legal legitimate political party is constitutionally recognized in the country and can only contest, and that party is the only party that can contest in elections. So you see them more often in communist states. One political party is recognized, legitimate, constitutionally recognized in the country. Right? Personally, I don't like this because I believe in voice of the opposition. Let's look at the feature of 1 party. So 1 party system could be a de jure 1 party or a de facto 1 party. By de jure, it means that the Constitution allows it. De jure means following due processes, while de facto means when you usurp and seize, either by coercion or whatsoever. Right? So why de facto when there is no legal or constitutional prohibition, right? but competing forces gradually eliminate all their oppositions and end up becoming the only party in the states. While in the jury, the constitution just says it's only one party. I hate that de facto thing. There's nothing for me positive about it. I understand what he's trying to say, but for me, nothing positive about it. So only one legal party is recognized constitutionally. There is no official opposition. There may be opposition, but no officially recognized. Election is contested by that same one party. There is only one ideology, the party ideology, the state ideology, right? The result of the election can be predicted. You know who's going to win. There's only one party. So the mass media is also controlled by this one party state as well. There is no freedom of the press. I believe no fundamental human right. It is only the will of the state that dominates, right? Or the will of the party. What are the merits? It acts as an instrument for national unification, for uniting everybody so that we can come together and face national development, national building. And it eradicates all these ethnic, religious, whatsoever. It takes them off. So in this system, competent people are the ones who wins. This system allows competent people to run the affairs of the state, and it promotes economic stability and viability. You know, sometimes, in a way, opposition can be a distraction. So it leads to economic development and no waste of resources. So opposition can be a distraction here, can be making it difficult for the party in power to carry out their policies and get their jobs done. So it removes unhealthy political rivalry and competition. Election is always free and fair because you know what is going to be happening. So the election is going to be between the party or within the party. So what are the demerits? It's undemocratic because there's no opposition. Point one. So most often it can encourage dictatorship because it's just a one-party state. The state, one party controls everything. So rights of the individuals are like trampled, but the party objective is the goal. It leads to undue control of the mass media because it doesn't tolerate criticisms. There is no viable opposition that acts as watchdog, just the supreme will of the party. So you can have party leaders who will become leaders for life, always win election, always in power. They can't go down. They will be there for 50 years, 30 years. Right? Now let's go over to, okay, my opinion on one-party system. I don't like it. In a multi-ethnic society, for me, it is a disaster waiting to happen. I don't want it. I'll prefer one that has opposition, allows people to criticize the government in power, protects the fundamental right of the citizens. Now let's look at two-party system. So in this one, we have only two political parties are legally and constitutionally allowed to operate in such a country. Right? So you have, for example, you will see it in US where you have the Democrat and the Republican. Right? So let's see some of its features. So number one, the existence of two dominant political parties that are recognized constitutionally and otherwise. The opposition party is legally recognized, right? And it has the capacity to oppose and criticize the party in power. The rule of law and democratic principle thrives here. Democracy allows opposition to survive, to thrive. So it thrives in this kind of situation. The opposition party is seen as a corrective party in government. So when the main party is messing up, the opposition party holds them accountable. And most often, the main party loses the next election and the opposition party becomes the party in power. If you look carefully well in USA, the Democrats and Republicans have been changing hands for some time right now. So people have the opportunity to make choices. So the electorate have the power to change irresponsible or corrupt government and get in somebody that can do what they want. So freedom of the people is guaranteed. Freedom of the press is guaranteed. What's the demerit? Provides room and opposition for choice of candidates. Oh, sorry, this is the features. So what are the advantages? It provides room and opposition for choice of candidate and party. So you can oppose this party. People have choice to make. If you don't want somebody from party A, you get somebody from party B. So it's the freedom of the press is guaranteed, right? Opposition party holds a divergent view. Their views are different from the party in power, and it's allowed to thrive. And variety is the spice of life. Opposition makes it democratic, actually. Electorate can easily identify the strengths and weaknesses of parties in government because they will use the opposition part, the party in power, as they look up to the party in power. And most often, when they fail to live up to their bidding, they criticize and use the opposition as a guide to criticize the party in power. So it ensures stability of government, it ensures accountability of government to the people, it prevents dictatorship of the one-party states. What are the demerits? It can lead to polarization of the citizens between two groups, unhealthy competitions and rivalry, right? That's what just came to my mind now. And that's number 3. At times, it does not promote unity. It brings in, it cuts across, it divides the country into 2 different sects. Leads to waste of resources because funds are required to run this kind of system. It encourages rigging of the ruling party so that they can perpetuate themselves in power. And it may often lead to one party, especially if the ruling party uses de facto system to eliminate the opposition. Right? So let's look at multi-party. A multi-party is a system where more than 2 political parties are allowed to compete for political activities in the country, and they are constitutionally recognized. They are recognized by the law of the land in such a country. So in Nigeria, we have seen this in the Second Republic. Remember, the First Republic was from 1963 to 1966 or thereabouts, while the Second Republic is 79-23. Nigeria had 6 political parties that vied for election. It's also common in France, Italy, Malawi, Zambia. Right? So let's look at some of its features. So more parties can contest an election. All political parties are legally recognized. So long as they met the laid out procedure to exist, they are legally recognized. So people have abundance of choice of programs or even choice of candidates. Now, the decision-making process involves wider representation because a lot of people are involved, a lot of groups are involved. It may lead to coalition government, which for me is a good thing. A party can win the election and may not have the majority in the lawmaking house. So for them to achieve their aim, they may have to form a coalition, come together with other parties and form a group. So it encourages political education and sensitization. It prevents dictatorship. It enhances regular and periodic election, change of government, encourages promotion of political principle, right? Human rights, etc. Now, what are the merits? People have range of choices. It allows for different shades of opinion at the legislative level, right? So you have different lawmakers in the political party. So you have different views in the lawmaking house because there are wider representation in the lawmaking house. It prevents the emergence of a dictator. That's fantastic. It ensures that fundamental human rights is protected, right? It permits wider range of ideologies in that system, gives people wider choice as well, right? It encourages change of government during periodic election, especially if the government in power is not living up to expectation. So rule of law is encouraged in this system. Political education is spread far and wide. Everybody gets to know what is happening, right? Now, demerits is expensive to run, and it can also lead to unhealthy rivalry among political parties. It can even encourage mass rigging and whatsoever. It's very expensive because there are more than 2 parties. It leads to political instability because of frequent coalition, realignment, jumping from party A to party B to party C, right? It can disintegrate the nation at times, cut the nations across party lines, across ethnic or tribal lines. It is a waste of resources and both human and material because it's expensive. Violence, rigging, manipulation. Look at Nigeria, for example, thrives. It encourages corruption, lobbying, etc. A lot of negative things come with this. Nigeria is going through some of them right now. But what can we do? But when the advantage outweighs disadvantages, we can go on with it. So this is a big topic, right? I hope you understand what we've treated here. If you have any question, feel free to ask these questions, right? In the comment section. If you have clarifications, put it there as well. We have concept of party system, and we have different types of party system, and we also discuss their merits and demerits, right? So expecting your questions in the comment section or clarifications as the case may be.